Today we have a mighty list of changes that will be coming for Midland Main Line, Link Rijnstrack, Bree-Moldenberg, Peak Forest, as well as additional changes to Isle of Wight, Ride Shanklin, West Cornwall Local, Rosalinier, Luzerzersee, Main Spessartbahn and the 1938 tube stock. Please view our full change list of patch notes below. These changes are live on all platforms. Headliners. Midland Main Line. Full host of improvements, including an environment and scenery sweep, adjusting clipping objects and collisions, new timetabled freight services, listed below, and a range of various gameplay fixes. 1 added 89 HST services, particularly between Derby-Leicester. 2 added 20 Ivanhoe services between Leicester-Nottingham, including 3 freight services. 3 added Roch service from Derby-Leicester dragging the blue Class 375. 4 re-enabled Roch and Class 375 blue service. 5 re-enabled Toton HL Leicester aggregate freight service. 6 updated Class 66 Rail Tour to use SEH Class 66 instead of RHTT. 7 overhauled area around Derby Station, including adding a Derby Arena football stadium, 3 new buildings on the platforms, barriers, and changed bridge supports. Link Rijnstrack. 1 BR103 window wipers will now behave correctly. 2 vehicles will now correctly stop at level crossings. 3 added OHLE in the cold steel BR110 scenario. 4 improved visuals for trees across all seasons to prevent them appearing gray and popping into color on approach. Full changelog. Core. 1 XSS removed large black objects appearing in the sky. Aliens don't invade TSW until 2177. 2x1x/XSS/XSX Xbox memory improvements, saving 112 MB. Midland Main Line. Timetable. 1 added 89 HST services, particularly between Derby-Leicester. 2 added 20 Ivanhoe services between Leicester-Nottingham, including 3 freight services. 3 added Roch service from Derby-Leicester dragging the blue Class 387. 4 re-enabled Roch and Class 375 blue service. 5 re-enabled Toton HL Leicester aggregate freight service. 6 updated Class 66 Rail Tour to use SEH Class 66 instead of RHTT. Gameplay. 1 removed short 90 mph section when leaving Nottingham Station. 2 fixed a crash starting the set pieces scenario. 3 fixed missing set junction objectives on the set pieces scenario. 4 fixed custom liveries spawning in HST and 158 formations on introductions and tutorials. Derby Station. 1 added Derby Arena football stadium. 2 added 3 new buildings on the platforms and updated many others. 3 The model for Derby Roundhouse has been replaced with new models and textures. 4 added barriers at Derby Station. 5 changed bridge supports. 6 updated Derby side building with doors, windows, and arches, and weathering effects. 7 station buildings should no longer be floating. 8 added more car variation in car parks around Derby. 9 lamps no longer clip into the wall around Derby Station. 10 rename text above lounge on platform 7 to read EMT lounge. 11 removed floating benches. 12 adjusted lighting around the station. 13 fixed light leaking in through the underpass roof from the platform above. 14 fixed rain passing through the canopies. 15 fixed holes in the scenery at Derby Station. Talk about Mind the Gap. East Midlands Parkway. 1 NPCs will now spawn at East Midlands Parkway. 2 shelters will no longer change size when moving away. 3 added missing track point blades coming out of the tunnel before East Midlands Parkway. 4 updated with signage and display boards to the platforms to better match references, and added weathering on platforms. 5 players should now be able to climb onto platforms at East Midlands Parkway and Leicester Station. 6 removed snow buildup appearing on platform 1. 7 fixed posters clipping into fences. Nottingham. 1 snow will no longer build up underneath Nottingham Bridge. 2 fixed floating assets around platforms near Barrow-under-Soar and Nottingham. 3 fixed issues with passengers getting stuck or floating at Nottingham Station. 4 fixed Nottingham Station platform number signage with correct numbers. Additional 1 added AWS magnet on the line from Derby Spondon. 2 added a new bridge around Leicester. 3 achieving a gold medal on 5D90 Derby Etches Park will now correctly display on the menu. 4 redesigned Solly level crossing to be more natural, added angled crossing plate. 5 adjusted platform height at Siston Station. 6 rain/snow should no longer clip ends of Red Hill Tunnel. 7 adjusted platform at Barrow upon soar so it no longer clips with a 158. 8 updated scenery around Loughborough Station based on community feedback. 9 adjusted platform gauging at Leicester so that platforms better match the curvature of the track. 10 fitted incandescent bulbs to signal just north of Leicester Station. 11. Moved lamp post at Spondon so a car stop could be attached to it. 12 activated AWS ramp for signal just north of Beeston Station. 13 passengers will no longer get stuck in the ground before boarding a train at Loughborough. 14 created an extra car stop at Loughborough so longer trains can fit more coaches on the platform and allow passengers to board. 15 signal LR501 should no longer display double greens on a clear aspect, and appropriate numbers of yellows on caution aspects. 16 fixed trees appearing too close to the track. 17 fixed a gap in Leicester footbridge. 18 fixed Beeston Station stair textures. 19 fixed conflicting speed limit information around curve at Long Eaton and before East Midlands Parkway from Nottingham. 20. Fixed hedge materials displaying incorrectly. 21 fixed various collision errors and clipping across all stations and along the route. 22 fixed various camera clipping issues, players can no longer fly through iconic buildings. 23 fixed flower pots attachment to fences at Long Eaton Station. 24 fixed text at the end of the night train scenario from disappearing quickly. 25 fixed various spelling errors. Class 158. 1 passengers no longer stand in the vestibules and block the player. 2 added 2 help tips that show the player how to open doors using shortcuts. 3 added a set to set the reverser to off in the tutorial. 4 added animations and a toggle to clipboard light switch. 5 added DSD pedal animation and sounds. 6 door panel buttons should function as expected. 7 window wipers now properly clear rain/snow. 8 changed wiper mode speeds for different slow and fast settings. 9 raised driver viewpoint by 5 cm. 10 allowed gangway door to be opened from opposite cab of 2 coupled units. 11 cab dial needles can now be seen at night with cab lights off. 12 tail lights are now correctly red. 13. Train should work as expected when taking over from the AI after being previously coupled. 14 adjusted platform height at Siston Station. 15 adjusted vigilance penalty and pedal emergency timers to align with real-life setups. 16 changed traction isolation and vigilance isolation to be toggleable, and made it so that the glass bar is removed when you toggle them. 17 changed orange swooping line on the exterior of the 158 shall now end with a sharp point, based on community feedback and reference images. 18 ensured climb-up options for all doors. 19 ensured that all guard panel buttons are clickable, and that buzzer has audio. 20 ensured starting engine with auxiliary lights extinguished will not trip alternator excitation. 21. Ensured local control only shuts off the local engine and the engine can be restarted by pressing engine start. 22 implemented fault lamp test. When the fault lamp test button is pressed the engine stop and both transmission fault lights are illuminated. 23 in both 52 and 57 variants, the key will now correctly disappear once players have stopped interacting with the key VHID in the guard panel. 24 cab gauges will now be visible if instrument lights are inactive or when in direct sunlight. 25 brake demand light will now flash when brake demand is triggered and the TPWS/AWS reset button has not been pressed. 26 prevented players from being able to click the front coupler in external views. 27. Disabled sander and uncouple button lights from illuminating. 28 removed ability to interact with the second man seat window through the front cab door. 29 removed ripple visual effect on front window texture. 30 reduced amount of sliding and slipping in conditions with bad adhesion. 31 fixed areas where the model and textures were low resolutions. 32 fixed texture seam alongside the side of the reverser handle. 33 fixed class 158 head/tail light mimic panel to display marker lights as intended. 34 fixed AI trains so they can couple without issue. 35 fixed issues with lighting in the passenger compartments. 36 fixed an issue causing to guard panel local door to not work as expected in the open position. 37 fixed lighting on the rear of the train at the start is showing red and white, service 5C20. 38 fixed issue preventing sanding to never be applied on rear coach. 39 fixed blue door light to stay illuminated until all doors in the consist are closed and interlocked. 40 fixed coupler button logic. To establish jumper cable connection, the couple button has to be pressed with reverser in neutral. 41 various fixes to audio. 42 various changes to emergency brake physics and logic. 43 various physics improvements. Class 43 HST. 1. You can now sit in passenger seats once again. 2. Passengers will correctly board and disembark, and will not go through staff/guard doors. 3. HST cars should be in the correct order. 4. Remove blocked windows of Mk3 TGS coach and added interior model for rear side guards area. 5. PS4/XB1 fixed text appearing blurry and illegible on decals. 6. Fixed issues with shadows casting behind decals on Mk3 coaches. 7. Fixed an issue preventing players to interact with the gangway doors. 8. Fixed an issue where the TPWS trips with penalty brake on entry to Nottingham, approach C line below 48 miles per hour, the TPWS should not trip. 9. Fixed DRA and AWS isolate switches being reversed in operation. 10. Fixed not quite awake scenario to now start with the HST's reverser facing forward. 11. Fixed issue where doors appeared open after closing them from a distance. 12. Fixed gangway doors to correctly display open/closed. Link Reinstrack. Note, physics improvements to the BR103 will come at a later date. Gameplay. 1. Chapter 8, alternating current will now have a BR110 loco at one end, service RE3444. 2. Fixed multiple red signals outside of Koblenz station that were preventing progress in services and journey mode. 3. Fixed signal sequencing at Mainz station. 4. BR103 window wipers will now behave correctly. 5. Vehicles will now correctly stop at level crossings. 6. SIFA on BR110 is now audible on outside camera. 7. Headlights on N-wagons will now correctly illuminate surroundings. 8. Improvements to DB shims U708 and DB TAGs 959 physics and brakes, ensuring trains are capable of departing and can stop within a reasonable distance. Route Art. 1. Added OHLE in the cold steel BR110 scenario. 2. Improved visuals for trees across all seasons to prevent them appearing gray and popping into color on approach. 3. Improved snow buildup appearing across the landscape and not over roads. 4. Fixed position of platform and signal box at Koblenz station. 5. Fixed missing collision to various fences across the route. 6. Fixed area where grass texture cut through a main road. 7. Fixed signs clipping in station at Boppard Bad Salzig. 8. PS5 fixed an issue that caused many areas of the environment to have a checkered texture. UI and menus. 1. Added missing full stop to the St. Gore station name. 2. Fixed blank options from appearing in scenario planner. 3. Fixes to subtitle text in the BNRDZF 463 N-Wagon Introduction Training Module. 4. Fixed incorrectly localized pies on the side of IC coaches. Bremen-Oldenburg. Gameplay. 1. Improvements to brake pipe physics on the TAGs 959, Habians and Lotters. 2. Fixed load passengers objective to be completable in the BR110 introduction. 3. Fixes to the BR103 introduction when operating the door via D-pad or analog focus. 4. Added missing speed reduction on approach to Bremen-Neustadt. 5. Vorsignals will behave correctly on SH1 and HP2. UI and menus. 1 voice-over and subtitles will now correctly match in the BR110 training module for French and German languages. 2 fixed subtitle error in BR463 tutorial. 3 mastery tile will correctly show as available once the player has earned it. BR110. 1 improvements to the BR110 passenger doors functionality. 2 fixed BR110 SIFA audio not being played outside when activated from the menu. 3 window wipers will work as expected. 4 corrected intensity of headlights for the BR110 and N-Wagons. BR Press 155. 1 adjusted tap changer notch up/down time according to real-world data. 2 tune brake force, pressure, and general brake physics to be more prototypical. BR425. 1 fixed throttle movement lag on BR425. BR463. 1 improvements to the interior model in the cab. Peak Forest. LMS4F. 1 turned down the volume of the safety valve to match 8F and Jubilee. Isle of Wight, Ride Shanklin. Class 483. 1 added emergency brake that can be toggled with backspace. 2 animated guard panel buttons and increased button size to make them easier to click. 3 speedometers should correctly match the speed shown on the HUD. 4 train will correctly load passengers after saving and reloading from the menu. 5 fixed HUD display swapping brake cylinder and main res. 6 headlights should function correctly on AI services. 7 driver seat is folded down by default when starting a service. 8 reduced hitbox of gangway door to prevent it getting in the way. 9 added collisions to passenger seats to prevent walking through them. 10 you can no longer flip up the driver's seat while sat in it. 11 sliding shoes will now properly contact the third rail. 12 remove guard panel cameras. 13 adjusted internal weather sounds. 14 reduced volume of door warning audio. 15 implemented guard buzzer audio. 16 improved footstep audio. 17 fixed entrance and exit animations when climbing aboard. 18 fixed animations for the guard's door open and close buttons. West Cornwall Local. 1 remove chance for player to escape the world at St. Austell Station, no fourth wall breaking here. 2 updated footstep audio at St. Earth Station. 3 updated draw distance for tunnel and crossing at Truro Station. Passengers should also no longer clip onto the road as much. Class 150. 1 adjusted fuel position on Class 150. 2 added wheel sparking effect, plus water and snow kick-up effects. 3 increased revs when starting train in notch 3, dropping down when torque converter is filled. This is mainly an audio improvement. Class 37/5. 1 Class 37/5 headlights will now correctly illuminate surroundings. Main specified band. BR204. 1 fixed release brake objective in training module, allowing it to be completed. 2 added walkie-talkie model to front of cab which is used to contact signaler. 3 added fuel caps and refueling setup. 4 increased strength of headlights, and also warmed the color slightly. 5 manual wipers will now correctly clear rain and snow on windows. 6 remove duplicated BR204 in the service listing. 7 204s now couple closer together. 8 throttle power notches 4,5 and 6 will now do something, notches 1,2 and 3 power reduced. 9 fixed full service brake to correctly display. 10 fixed HUD brake percent to match the output shown on the level. 11 PZB should now appear on the HUD as well as the dashboard lights. 12. Changed SIFA warning from bleep to SIFA audio. 13 adjustments to cab audio, including PZB beeper volume. 14 reduced sensitivity of reverser control. 15 various adjustments to brake physics. 16 added rail driver support. Arrows align. 1 added resume last played image. GE4 force. 1 updated running audio, flange audio, and whistle audio. Also, whistle/horn volume will now correctly decrease as the camera moves away. 2 improved wiper audio panning, and fixed external audio for wipers. 3 fixed snow effect artifacts on the front window. 4 fixed clock in cab 2 to no longer be blank. 5 improvement to headlights. 6 improved animation of master key turning. 7 added wheel sparking effects, and water and snow kick-up. Losers C. Rabi 523. 1 rounded timetable to nearest minute. 1938 tube stock. 1 improved running audio when coasting. 2 tweaked audio for battery, running, and traction motor. 3 headlights should now always turn on. 4 AI drivers should now be sat in their seats, time to rest those sore feet. 5 AI trains should now have passenger lights on, with lighting adjusted in AI trains. 6 passengers should now correctly sit down, without piling on top of each other. 7 fixed animations for guard panel buttons, with a second button added to open doors. 8 guard buzzer functionality added. 9 increase of cab light brightness and headlight brightness. 10 added wheel spark effects. 11 improved handbrake animation. 12 doors can no longer be opened whilst the train is in motion. 13. Wiper buttons should now be operational with a gamepad. 14 driving across gaps in third rail should no longer result in you losing power.